Hello and welcome to Deliberately Creative. I'm Stephanie and I'm here to welcome you to episode number 20 of Doodle Gems. This time we're going to do Mystic Topaz. It's a beautiful gem and it was a request by one of our community members. So after trying to figure it out for a week or two, I decided I can do it. And I'm doing it as a tutorial. If you have any requests for a specific gem or stone for me to try, I don't guarantee that all requests will be made into tutorials, but I can certainly try. Leave it down in the comment section and who knows, your gem may be the next one up. Down here at the table, we have the colors that I used. I'm going to be doing this with Prismacolor, but I have also swatched out the colors I would choose if I were using Crayola. So in Prismacolor colors, we are going to be using Canary Yellow, Orange, Process Red, Violet, Aquamarine, True Blue, Grass Green, White, and a colorless blender. So let's get started. All right, here we are. This was a heart in Mystic Topaz that was done with Prismacolor, and this heart is one of Mystic Topaz that was done with Crayola. Crayola is a little bit less pigmented and waxier than the Prismacolors. So you can tell that it's a little bit lighter, but there's still enough vibrancy to it that if you hadn't seen this one over here, this would look just fine. So work with what you have. If you don't have these exact colors, if you don't have these exact pencils, look up different colors of Mystic Topaz on Google. Pretty much the sky's the limit with this. All right, welcome. So we're going to start working on our doodle gem. And I'm going to start out with the Aquamarine. And I'm going to do this heart. Let's see here. Move my paper up. I want to make sure that you see. So I have it zoomed in. And I'm going to do this heart. It's not going to be too big. It's not going to be perfect. You see, it's not a perfect heart. I don't think anyone, unless they've been doing them for years and years. And even at that, when you do things that are symmetrical, it's really hard to get both sides to be exactly the same unless you're using a template. If I cut out a piece of paper, I could do that. I could cut a piece of paper and make a heart by folding the paper in half and cutting half the heart. Then when you open it up, you've got a template you could lay down and trace around. And then the heart would be a perfect heart. But I'm doing a hand-drawn heart. But I want it to be a little bit more symmetrical. I'm not pressing really hard. I'm just putting some color down. This is sort of my outside edge of the heart. So the outside edge of my heart is actually going to have some color to it that sort of goes around. There's going to be some violet and there's going to be some process red, canary yellow, orange, true blue, and grass green are the colors that we're going to be using. I'm putting a second heart in the middle here, and I'm going to put a dot. Now that dot in the center is actually where the colors in this particular gem are going to originate from. There's a few lines in it for faceting for cuts. But the Mystic Topaz is a gem made from topaz. It's a man-enhanced gem. People who wanted more pretty stones took the clear, not colored topaz that was coming out of the ground, and they will manufacture the Mystic Topaz by finishing the stone, making it into whatever shape it's going to be, cutting it in a heart, cutting the facets to it. Then they will cover the back of it, or the underside of it, with a micron thin layer of titanium. A micron thin layer of titanium. And by doing that, they are able to get these beautiful rainbow colors after they heat it. And now it looks like I'm being real random with my colors. I have a little bit of an idea where I'm going to put them, not a lot. I know that I want this process red to be near that blue so that when I overlap some of that blue, it turns purple. See, I haven't colored a purple on here yet, but there's purple in here now. And that's because the process red and the true blue makes a violet. And I do have a violet pencil. I'll be using it. But I also like putting in some of these colors and having them just sort of magically appear. And the process red with that aquamarine will go a little bit darker. Process red is basically a magenta. And that aquamarine is very blue. So I'm getting away with putting them next to each other. If it were a red and a grass green, that would be giving me an almost dark brown or muddier color. Sometimes you want that muddy color because it gives you variations. You got to have those variations in your colors. Otherwise, it all looks like it came out of a crayon box. We don't want that. We want it to have light and fire. And now you see I have only used the aquamarine, the true blue, and the process red, but you see there's more than that in colors here. I'm going to grab the canary yellow. I like this yellow. It's a brilliant yellow. It works well with a lot of these colors. It gives you an orangey color. It gives you a green with that true blue. It gives you a different green with the aquamarine. And I'm working this from that center dot, working back and forth and out for this very center. And I'm trying to not put this right over the areas that turned violet, because I like that violet color. And if I put the canary yellow right over the violet, here, I'll do it right here, it kind of goes dark, kind of goes extra dark. Sometimes you want that extra dark, so I'm not upset that I did that right there. I can't really change it. I can't really take it out. but I might purposefully put another spot of it over here, so that way it looks like we're doing that on purpose. Actually, I kind of like that. Put a couple more spots of that in. There we go. And I do have a regular orange, but the regular orange is a different color of orange than the magenta or process red and canary yellow make. Because see, I'll bring in some of that orange right here, lay it over some of that process red and yellow. You see, I'm almost like with a paintbrush. I'm picking up a pencil and I'm looking at it and going, let's see, where do I want that color? Where do I want that color? And I'm going to slip a little edge of it right in here, in that center. And right there. Maybe a spark of it right here. And like putting in an underpainting, it looks messy when you first start out. It's pretty. The colors are pretty, but it looks messy. And that's okay. That's what we're doing right now, is we're putting in colors. This violet is my darkest color. I'm going to use it as a color to define some of my areas. And I'm not going to put it in my orange, but I'm going to put it in those white spaces near the orange. And in that white space right there, it's a complementary color to that, those orange and yellow tones. It's more the complementary of the orange than the yellow, but violet is this purple is pretty strong. Pull some of that color from the edges. So this is looking pretty messy right now. Pull that true blue in again. Get some of those cool colors working together next to some of those real hot colors. Gives you those contrasts, it gives you those shades. I want a little more green right there, so I'll just throw some of that blue. Look at that. And as you're going, you're putting more layers, you're overlapping your colors, you're getting variations, you're getting surprises. Yeah, I'm liking how that's going. Now this is a kind of gem that sort of comes together at the, well, pretty much like all of them, comes together right at the very end when we get the highlights on, and then when we put that outline of black. But I'm going to throw just a smidge of this violet in underneath a couple of the edges. Just underneath a couple of those edges. It gives us an idea of how we're going here. I really like how this yellow and green are working right here. I'm going to go ahead and just work it with that yellow. The whites that I'm going to have in this one will really be white from the gel pen. I'm going to go over that orange with the yellow and that green with the yellow. but I'm sort of avoiding those purpley spots as best I can. As best I can. So now giving some of the shape to this stone here, I'm going to put some white in to use for dulling out some of the spots to give it a little bit of variation. But I'm also going to use my colorless blender, and I think the colorless blender is what I will be using first. Now that I went into that purple first, I will not go into my orange. I will move over to a blue and a pink spot. I'm going to try and keep my colors a little, not pure, but a little less intermixed. None of my colors in here are pure colors anymore. They are all getting intermixed to a certain amount. But I don't want to take that purple straight into my orange. And I'm kind of looking at my pencil and making sure that if I have purple on it when I'm going into my orange and my yellow, that I meant to do that. So let's go like this, and I'm just going to do this pretty fast. Just do that pretty fast. There's some colors there. Sort of blend that purple in just a smidge to that orange, but not really. There's going to be a few spots where I'm going to go back with my orange and my yellow to brighten up some of those colors. But I like how these gems work. I had never seen a Mystic Topaz before. And while I was doing my research, I saw lots of them. Beautiful gems. And they're a semi-precious. They're only... they're not generally put into, like you don't see a topaz and diamond ring very often. Topaz is a semi-precious. It's about an 8 on the hardness scale, so it's below the sapphire, and which is a 9, and below the diamonds, which are your hardest gems. Just sort of softening out that sort of shadowy color underneath. Just carrying some of that color along with the colorless blender. Soften that out. So you'll find a lot of Mystic Topaz being used in sterling silver jewelry. So it's much more affordable. You can find beautiful pieces for $30, $40, $50 American. Which is kind of cool. You can have pretty things, and it doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg, and you can have fun. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and grab that white, and I am going to run some of it right around this outside edge here, because that's working some of that highlight. I'm going to run some of it right along this edge here to work in an area where light and dark kind of came together. a little bit there. And I think right up here, I'm really going to soften that out. But I don't want to contaminate that yellow, so push into that and then pull out. Now I'm over in that purpley color. I left kind of a little gap and I'm moving over just a bit. And I'm going to pull in, just soften up a couple spots. It's amazing what using the white does. Yes, it does soften your colors, makes them go a little bit out of focus. But sometimes that's exactly what you want. You want it to go a little out of focus. You want it to be where the light has gone down inside and has kind of moved around a little bit. You want some of that brightness also. So I'm going to go back with my yellow and my orange in just a moment. Like right now. Take that yellow and I'm going to push it in and kind of, basically I'm moving some of that white out of the way. Sometimes you can do that. Sometimes you can move some of those other colors out of the way. And using the yellow to do this, I bring back some of the brightness in that yellow, in those yellowy spots, in those blendy spots there. There we go. Without losing all of the other softening that was done with that white. And I want that bright blue. Just get a couple pulls of that blue in there. And I'll do the same thing with the purple. I'm sort of starting at that center line, that center heart, and just pulling a few sparks of this blue out. Right over the top of that white. Let's see here. Looking at that. Well, no, I don't want the white. Grab my process red and throw a little bit of that in there. Again, this stone is very much like a starburst or a firework, really brilliant firework, or a beautiful rainbow colored flower. Let's throw some of that right in there. Just because we can. Because we can. I hope you're enjoying these doodle gems. And if you have a doodle gem that you would like me to try to do, if you have a gem or a stone that you would like me to try and learn how to do so I can teach you and teach others, please leave that down in the comment section. This doodle gem is brought to you by one of your community members who asked if I could do Mystic Topaz. And I'd never seen it before. So I didn't say yes or no. I just said I'd try. I would try. So now what we're going to do is grab the white gel pen. And I'm going to put just a few spots in, like one right there, and maybe a bright one right here. And I think I like the idea of a bright one right here. I'm going to move a piece of paper that's making noise. There we go. and kind of straighten up that edge a little bit. That's sort of the reflection of the light from the window. I'm going to put a couple spots here, a little bit right at the top, and right along here. I don't want to go too overboard here, and I could very well be doing that right now. So I think that one's just a little too heavy. I think maybe I'll trim it down a little bit. I'm just using my fingernail. Yeah, I like that better. And that one's a little bit heavy too. Yeah, that's much better. Although there is going to be a little bit right in this space. There we go. All right, and now we will take the black pen. This one happens to be an 08 Micron. And I am going to do just a simple little outline. And I'm going inside the purple a little bit. I love how doing the outline, you get the instant gratification of it being round and three-dimensional, and it pops up off the page. Part of that is because there's light and dark coming together. And where that light and the dark comes together, and you get that really strong definition between that light and the dark, you get that impression of three dimensions. And by going outside of the line of the heart, but I still have a little bit of that purple and that light colored white in there, that makes an even better highlight. So look at that. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and run a second line. I'm going to try and be even with it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And as I always say, yours does not have to look like mine. I'm sitting with the window open in front of me. So every once in a while, there's a piece of paper that seems to get caught by a small breeze. And that's what you heard rattling there, was that small breeze. Now I think I'm going to color this in with the pen. And it is going to have some spots that are sort of highlighted with that purple, some spots that are highlighted with that white. So you feel like it's maybe a little more metallic. I don't know. It's going to be different. Haven't done one this way. This pen feels more like a marker right now. I don't usually work with something quite so big. So we've got that highlight there, and I think now we're going to come around and it's going to be a little more purple showing up to there. And then there's going to be some white. I'm making this up. It could end up being colored in completely black by the time I'm done if I don't like it. Nice thing about it, it's a doodle. You are not stuck with anything pretty much. being a doodle, you can adjust it. Make it your own. So I'm not really liking the scribbliness on those edges. So I'm going to try and not make them so scribbly. Make it a little more color blocked. Make that highlight just a little thinner. Maybe make a little bit more of a highlight by just extending the line out into the white. That's part of being able to just modify and make it your own. See, I'm not liking that one so much. Take that one out. So if you're enjoying these doodle gems, please click like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you have a doodle gem that you would like me to try and do. I try and pin things on Pinterest. I find things all over the place to try, to give me inspiration. This is not a specific stone. This is all made up out of my own head, but I was looking at many different topaz, mystic topazes to learn how the light and dark kind of works together. So this is the one that you got in this lesson. This is one that I did as a sample, as a sort of a test version. Both are pretty. Both are full of light and dark and shininess. And I have an idea for a doodle that I want to put around this, but it's going to be an extra show. It's probably going to take me a full half hour, 45 minutes to do my doodle. Maybe. Maybe I'll surprise myself and it'll only take 25 minutes. Who knows? But it'll be a special episode that will pop up in your notifications. So please make sure that you're subscribed if you want to see what happens next to this doodle gem. I would like to thank you for staying here with me. Thank you for hanging out. And as always, go out and do something creative. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, so we're going to throw a bit of that red in there. Let's see. I wanted some red on that side of that one. But I'm going to leave that one white. I'm going to leave that one white. I'm not going to leave this one white. I'm going to make it red. Make that little triangle red right there. Let's see. And that